Hugging Face CEO just tweeted that they're trying to build a Twitter bot that automatically creates alt text for images for accessibility at the Hugging Face hackathon. So this problem in machine learning is called an image captioning problem, where you've got an image and you want to generate a text that can describe the image. And this is quite an important thing for accessibility. A lot of times when you upload a picture on the internet, people who can see the image, but a lot of people who cannot see, who is visually impaired, they also use the internet, and these alt text can help them see the image through the words that you have added to the image. And also for SEO, search engine optimization, these text could be really helpful. So to make it easier for you to pick the next best model, the state of the model for image captioning, I'm going to compare 3 different image captioning model of 2 different sizes. We are going to compare GIT, we're going to compare BLIP, and we're going to compare ViT plus GPT-2. So we're going to compare these 3 images across 10 different images and then see how these models are doing across these 10 images. I'm going to show you why I picked these images as in when we use the image. And for each of this model, especially for GIT and BLIP, we are going to compare 2 different versions. One is the GIT base version and the other one is the GIT large version. The same way we are going to compare the BLIP base version and we are going to compare the BLIP large version. Why is it important? It is important because while we are doing demo, it is fine and well to use the large version, but a lot of time in production you want to also optimize for the inference time, which could vary a lot between a base version of a model and a large version of the model. And this is something that we have seen evidently in latest state-of-the-art generative models like OpenAI Whisper. So because of that, we are going to compare the base large for GIT, base large for BLIP, and we are going to finally compare it with ViT, Vision Transformer plus GPT-2, which basically takes the image and then gives you the text of describing what that image is. Now, this is not an application that I built. You can also use this application thanks to Niels R. So Niels R has built this demo, which is available on Hugging Face Spaces. I'm just simply using the demo to show you which model is the best. While we are going to do every model for every image, I'm going to give my vote of which response is the best response, and we are going to use that finally to score which model got the best response, and that can help you build your own image captioning model. Or if you have a problem like Clem who wants to create a bot that creates alt text for images, you can use the model that wins out of this race. So let's get started with our first image. To first show you how this works, I'm going to use the image that is given as an example. So I'm going to click this image and I'm going to run this. When I click this, you can see that this is an image. Like if I am a human being, if I have to describe it in detail, how would I describe it? I would say that there are 2 cats sleeping with 2 remote controls on a pink couch, maybe on a pink something, on a pink cloth. So this is how I would probably replace. And as you know that I am not a native English speaker, so this is how I would describe with the knowledge that I've got about English. So now if you see GIT base, it simply says 2 cats sleeping on a blanket next to remotes. Very well, I would definitely take this. But if you see GIT large, it doesn't stop there at a remote. It actually says 2 cats sleeping on a couch next to a remote control. But you can see that it has missed the pink blanket as the detail, and it just said couch rather than describing the attribute of the blanket or the couch in itself. Then blip base is very simple. 2 cats are lying on a couch, and blip large says 2 cats are lying on a couch with remote controls. So it says 2 cats lying on a couch with remote control, which is quite similar to what GIT large has done. And the next thing is the ViT plus GPT-2. It says a cat lying on a blanket next to a cat lying on a bed. So I mean, it has separated these 2 as separately too. So if of all these things, if I see, like, I would love if it had described remote control. So you can see remote control, remote in only these 3 models: GIT base, GIT large, blip large. And out of that, I would also love the detail where you have the description or attribute of the blanket in itself. So it says pink blanket, that adds a touch to what I see. So I would give vote for GIT base here. So this is how we are going to do it for all the images that we have got. Let's get started with the first image. The first image that we're going to see is a human being image. An image, I mean, this human is quite popular, all of you might know. So the reason why I picked this image is because I've got a human being here. While the human being is at the forefront, you can see at the distant far, there is a rocket or space rocket launcher. So I want to see if this image captioning models can actually capture and describe it. How does it describe it? And that is why this image has been picked up. So it says the man in a suit with arms crossed. Perfect description. The man in a suit with arms crossed. That's very good. But the reason why I picked this image is whether it can see the rocket launcher behind it, but it didn't. The next one is, it says instead of man, it adds a token here, stands in front of a rocket launch vehicle. Very good. A man in a suit and tie standing in front of rocket launch. Does he wear a tie? Does he wear a tie? No, he is not wearing a tie. So if you see the larger image, you can see, is there a tie? I don't necessarily see a tie. So it looks like the model has been hallucinating here. A man in a suit and a tie standing in front of a space shuttle. A man in a suit standing in front of a large building. So there is no large building. Again, you can see how the large language model itself is hallucinating. So for this, if I have to give the winner, I would probably say that this is doing a good job. Git large, you can see, but it doesn't say man necessarily here. And I also like the Git base, how it says that the man in a suit with arms crossed, like that is an extra added detail. So I would probably vote this and then this. And then you can see what is blip base doing. It is adding the detail about standing in front of a rocket, but it doesn't, that man doesn't have a tie. So one of the reasons why I didn't want to select this is because he doesn't have a tie. So that makes it difficult. Okay, let's pick the second image. So the second image is, most of the time image captioning models do images like this, like the image that we uploaded. But some of the image captioning models also do text well. That means if your image has got text in it, the image captioning model would actually transcribe what is there. Like it would do OCR, like what OCR would do. So it would do that. So in my picture, the picture that I uploaded, you can see that it says AI content generator. I've got a Cohere logo, I've got a Python logo, I've got a Blogger logo, and I've got a WordPress logo. So if you want to generate content using AI, I've got a separate video which I'll link it in the YouTube description. But this is the thumbnail of that video. So what I want to see is whether these models can actually capture this text. So submit it and then see what is going to happen. So now when you see this, you can see it says logo of the company. Bad, quite bad. The content generator, a guide to the content generator. So it managed to capture the content generator, but instead of AI content generator, it says the content generator. But everything else is quite bad in this. It says a woman in a black shirt and a white background with the WordPress. Like WordPress I can understand, but there is no woman, there is no black shirt. So bad, quite bad. And then the next thing is a picture of a person holding a phone and a laptop with the words EA and honestly no idea how did it even come up with this. And then finally a sign that says don't eat the wrong way. I mean, this don't eat the wrong way doesn't make any sense. So I don't have any choice but only to give the winner trophy to the Git large, because that is the only thing that came closer to what we have got. But as we can see that it has done a terrible job every other model. Okay, so that makes sense. The next thing is I wanted to take a picture that is not real, that has come in the movie. Once again, I'm trying to see the details, like can it capture the details of fire, can it capture the detail that there is a building and the man standing, or can it even identify that this is Batman. Submitted. Again, this might depend upon the kind of data set in which it has been trained, but let's see what is happening here. Actor as a comic book character in the new movie. This is quite straight. Git large is like straight out of Google search. It literally says that it is Dark Knight Rises wallpaper, and this literally is a Dark Knight Rises wallpaper. A man in a Batman costume shown in the Dark Knight Returns. It's not Dark Knight Returns. Sorry, Blip base. Christopher Nolan fans, don't get mad at Blip base. It's called Dark Knight Rises. Batman like character in the Dark Knight costume. Good. a man in a suit standing in front of a fire hydrant. Like, this is the only thing that captured fire. Like, as you can see, ViT plus GPT-2 is the only model that has captured fire in here. Everything else had completely almost ignored, focusing on the Batman side. So I would probably rate this second, and I would keep this as the first one, which is the Dark Knight Rises wallpaper. Even though I don't want it to tell me the Dark Knight Rises wallpaper, but it makes sense. Like, it makes sense, the Dark Knight Rises wallpaper here. So the next image that we're going to use is an image where I've got two cars. Like, if I am a human being, if I have to describe this, I would say like two cars in a hot pursuit, something like that. So 2 is a very important number here. So I would like to see if these models can actually say two cars there. And most models could do, but we have seen, like, with AI image generation tools, they are quite bad at numbers, and that's exactly why I picked two cars here. A couple of cars driving down a street, the crew, two cars racing, two cars driving down a street at night time. This, a couple of cars are driving down a street at night. A car is driving down a street with a red car. Once again, you can see that this, like, not just the same model is always the winner. You can see the blip base doing really good job. Two cars driving down on a street. Doesn't say racing, so I thought like it might take the motion blur and then assume that it is racing. Git large is actually doing racing, but everything else is not saying it is racing. That's quite surprising because it has got the motion blur in it. But then again, you can see the two cars, a couple of cars, a car with another car, and also it tells about, how these models are working, right? So when you see ViT, you can see that it is individually seeing a car with another a red car, but here you can see that it is aggregating it and giving you two cars as a detail. So I really liked blip base. Once again, I think blip base is doing a really good job here. And git racing, I like the git large because the racing is an interesting aspect of a picture. Like, if I'm a human, I would definitely say two cars are racing, or like at least driving very fast because of the motion blur. That's an extra detail that I would have loved to see the other models doing. The next picture is from a very old Hindi serial in India. Like, when I grew up, I would have probably seen it a lot. It's from a serial called Shakalaka Boom Boom. So where a kid has got a magic pencil and he writes, and then that comes to life. So I want to see if it can recognize this thing. So I know there's a kid. Kid is quite easy for it to recognize, but I don't know if it can identify it as a pencil or something. Let's see. A boy holding a banana and a toy, cool. A boy holding a banana on a stick, cool. A young boy with a banana on the show, cool. A close-up of a young boy holding a banana peel toy, cool. A young boy holding a banana and a piece of paper. So this again provides a huge insight about how these models work, because you can see that almost every single model in this case has identified that what he is holding is a banana. And that is primarily because of the head of this pencil. You can see the structure is almost like a banana, and unless you have context about what this is, you might also have assumed that this is banana. In fact, until now, I've never seen this as a banana, so it's quite surprising for me. So I like the fact that this is a young boy with a banana on the show. Maybe it took the caption here and then it says on the show. So I like this detail. And I also like the detail where it says a banana on a stick. That also gets some information that it's not just simply a banana, like how the other models have said. So it adds that detail. So I like the fact. So the next one is quite an interesting one. This is not a human generated image, and this is an AI generated image. This is generated using a protogen model, which is a new fine-tuned model from Stable Diffusion. I created this image for one of my videos, and I would like to see how Caption for AI generated images would work. I think it would work just like every other image, but I'm quite interested to see what is going to happen in this case. And you can say person is a female cosplay and she is a hero. Is a female character from a video game Star Wars and the Force Awakens. She is a female character from the video game series. She is a female character. A woman in a white suit and a black leather jacket with a gun. A woman in a white suit and a gun in the forest. And a woman dressed in a costume and holding a sword. So out of all these things, I think I like the blip large the most. I like the fact that here it says it's the woman is a female character from the video game, I might like it. I also like the black leather jacket, even though necessarily not it's a black leather jacket, so I like it. But I think I like the fact that it has added the characteristics of the background here, which is a forest, which is definitely one of the prompts when I created this picture. Definitely I intentionally gave forest in there, like in the background. So I'm glad to see that blip large has managed to capture that information. So at this point we have done 6 images, so you have to bear with me for another 4 images. So I'm going to get an interesting picture now. This is a cover image. I don't know if this was a real cover image ever, but this is a cover image of Times magazine. And let's see what is going to happen. So okay, artist on the cover of the magazine. That's quite impressive. I think that's quite impressive. Time magazine covering featuring, it didn't say Elon Musk, the founder of Time magazine. I mean, that's another thing. A man in a tie and a suit and a tie. There is no tie once again, with a red background. Not good. A close up of a person in a suit and tie on a magazine cover. Once again, there is no tie. It looks like most of the images for Blip where they had a suit might have had a tie, because anytime you see suit, it actually adds tie. So that's quite surprising. A man with a beard and a tie. No, this is not a beard, so that's fine. So I like the fact that Git Large has done the Time magazine cover featuring somebody, but it says the founder of Time magazine, so it's a hard pick. You can see that it says magazine cover, so I would probably go with the Git base, but Git Large has extra details, so Time magazine cover. So that's what it is. The next image is quite an interesting image. This is a podcast where Siraj and Yannick appeared together. I think Yannick was interviewing Siraj, and I want to see if it can capture these names, Yannick and Siraj. I also want to see if it can capture any details in the background, like the man is wearing sunglasses, something like that. That's why I picked this image. Okay, a man with a beard and sunglasses. Okay, it says a man, which means I assume that it has ignored the second one. The most popular video series of all the time. So I'm not sure how this most popular video series of all the time work. With a beard and a beard in a man with a beard and a beard. Sounds like a poem. It sounds like a poem that ChatGPT wrote. A man with a beard and a beard in a man with a beard and a beard. Cool. A man with sunglasses and sunglasses on a camera, and a man with a camera. Interestingly, there is no camera here, but I'm not sure if you can notice camera on Yannick's eyes. Surprising. I don't see any camera here. Is it assuming this microphone is camera? That's a quite surprising information. Definitely there must have been camera. That's how they would have captured it. But nice. A man with a beard and glasses looking at a camera. So what did I understand? I think it didn't capture the name, unlike I expected it to. And second thing is, it almost in most of the cases it ignored Siraj, um, because because Yannick is wearing glasses, and Blip base. These two models have like totally different ways. Like one is identifying a man with a beard, the other one is identifying a man with sunglasses. So I don't know if the model weights have that level of impact in who does it pick. And man with a beard and glasses, so it assumes that one person has beard and the same person has glasses as well. And most popular video series, maybe it looks like a podcasting style video. No idea. So all these models have done a terrible job for this image. So but if I have to pick one, I think I would probably go with Git base. It says a man with a beard and sunglasses, or most likely I would go with uh, ViT plus GPT-2. A man with a beard and glasses is looking at a camera, so that's good. The next one is something that you would have seen a lot. This is one of the most popular memes everywhere. You would see like somebody would put AI here, somebody would put logistic regression here, somebody. So this is a very popular meme. So I want to see what this image captioning models do to this image. In this case, a group of young people walking down a street. Okay, I can see young people walking down the street, but it doesn't capture anything in the foreground. A man and a woman looking at each other. No, nobody is looking at each other. A man and a woman walking down the street in a street. Okay, again. Uh, Arafed image of a man and a woman walking down in a street. A man and a woman standing next to each other. I think this is the closest being truth. They are standing next to each other. Looking at each other is kind of okay, but they're not looking at each other. So one man is looking at another girl is looking at a man. So I think every model has done a terrible job. It also makes me feel that, comparing this with the previous image, like it looks like when you have multiple things going on in an image, these image captioning models do not work very well. So maybe that is a time it's probably a good idea for somebody who's designing this like solution for a slightly more than just all text or something. Maybe sometimes you want to split the image into multiple parts and then generate a caption and then combine it. Maybe you can approach this into that kind of problem. But right now, as you can see, it says man and woman standing next to each other, which is this. I don't know if it is capturing this, or if this is the man and woman next to each other. So the closest being good, I would say man and woman standing next to each other. A group of young people walking down a street is also decent, but none of this actually captured the true detail of it. The final image that we have got, the 10th image in the series, like of the images that I picked. This is one of the interesting images that once again I was looking at for quite a while. So it has a lot of details. One is the background. I think there is a water, there is a reflection, there is headphone, the eyes are closed, there is a jacket. I mean, there are a lot of details in the image. I would want to see how much of these details are actually captured by the image captioning models. So young woman listening to music with headphones, cool. Maybe she is listening to a podcast, nobody knows, but okay, cool. I can understand that it says listening to music. I don't want to mistake AI. A woman with headphones on and eyes closed. That's an interesting detail. I just love it. Eyes closed is an interesting detail to me. A woman with headphones and headphones on her headphones. I don't know why Blip keeps on doing this thing, but it does. A woman in a brown jacket and headphones is listening to music. This is this has two important aspects that we wanted to capture. One is the headphone and brown jacket, but it doesn't have the eyes closed aspect. Women wearing a hat talking on a cell phone. So this assume that this is a hat. Cool. Sorry with plus GPT-2. So what do we see here? A woman with headphones on and eyes closed, and a woman in a brown jacket and headphones is listening to music. I think if I have to give between these two, I think these two are the same most likely, but I would still give a slight edge to this because I can still identify brown jacket somewhat easily with other things. But eyes closed is an interesting detail to me, and I am so happy that Git large managed to capture this. So that's it. That takes us to the end of this video where we have got 10 different images apart from the example images. We have got 10 different images, and these 10 different images we have seen how these image captioning models use, and I would let you be the judge and then see what you liked, and based on that pick the image captioning model that you want for your case, whether it is building an alt text creator just like the Hugging Face CEO for their hackathon, or you want to build something bigger like building memes, whatever you would like to do. But at the end of the day, smaller models are not necessarily bad. That's what we have learned. Git base has done a better job than Git large at multiple cases, and same with Blip base and Blip large. This is a notion that a lot of people need to understand, because a lot of times we automatically assume that larger models are good, and most of the cases larger models are good, but in this case we have found out that smaller models could also perform better in the way it expresses. That's one thing. The second thing is we also found that not one model is always good. ViT plus GPT-2 were not like at its best in a lot of cases, but you can see that there was a close tie between Git plus Blip, and but for me I think the Git family of models really did much better job, and yeah, so if you are interested in exploring more comparisons like this between different models, state of the art models, let me know in the comment section. Otherwise, I hope you found this video helpful, and this link will be in the YouTube description so you can check it out yourself. Once again, thanks to Niels for building this Hugging Face spaces, and see you in the next video. Peace.